There, please step out here, please. Step a little bit away from you.
Yeah, usually we've been having the client at the podium, and you can be over there by the other microphone unless you need to talk to them, and then, of course, you can get as close as you wish.
Thank you.
Okay, this is People of the State of Michigan versus Nicholas Deegan, docket number 20-162FH. Mr. Deegan, is this your current address that you wrote on this form here?
It is.
Yeah, okay. And how far did you go in school?
I'm currently in college. I'm taking a semester off right now because of the whole
Sure.
thing.
Yep. Do you work?
I was working construction for a while. I just got laid off because we're going into fall.
Sure. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Deacon, you have the right to be represented by an attorney. You are represented by Mr. Etheridge, and Mr. Etheridge, as you've informed me, this is a no contest plea to count 2, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then you'll waive reading of count 1.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Allen, would you read count 2, please?
And the people of the state of Michigan versus Nicholas Deegan, file 20-162-FH, State of Michigan, County of Bingham, in the name of the people of the state of Michigan. The prosecuting attorney for this county appears before the court and informs the court that on or about August 3rd, 2019, at 2875 Northwind Drive, apartment 208, Meridian Township, Ingham County, the defendant did in count 2 engage in sexual contact with another person, to wit, Alexandra Holke, using force or coercion to accomplish the sexual act contrary to Michigan law. There is a SORA notice that this is a Tier 1 offense under the Sex Offender Registration Act if the victim is 18 years or older. It is a Tier 2 if the defendant has a prior conviction for a Tier 1 offense. It is a Tier 2 offense if the victim was between the ages of 13 and 17, and is a Tier 3 offense if the victim was under 13, the defendant was 17 or older. Again, it's a Tier 3 offense if the defendant has a prior conviction for a Tier 2 offense under Michigan law. We ask the court to take notice that pursuant to Michigan law, upon bind over, the district court judge shall have ordered the defendant to be tested for sexually transmitted infection, hepatitis B infection, and for the presence of HIV or antibody to HIV, if the judge determines there's a reason to believe the violation involves sexual penetration or exposure to a bodily fluid of the defendant. This is a high court misdemeanor punishable by up to 2 years and or $500, mandatory HIV STD testing, and the DNA to be taken upon arrest, and was committed against the peace and dignity of the state of Michigan.
Mr. Deegan, you're being charged here with what's known as 4th-degree criminal sexual conduct. It is called a high court misdemeanor, as you may have heard. It is actually treated like a felony in lots of respects, including the fact that it's punishable by up to 2 years in prison. It will also subject you to the requirements of the Michigan Sex Offender Registration Act. Have you had enough time to talk about this charge with your lawyer?
Yes. I mean, yeah, I don't know. The whole situation, yeah, I don't know.
Well,
yes.
I don't give me the answer you think I want to hear. Tell me, have you had enough time?
Yes, the plea isn't exactly the way.
Well, if there's a plea agreement, we're going to get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, we will. But right now, what she's saying, it's at least a no contest to count 2, and there may be some other conditions as well, but I'll ask about that in a minute. Do you have any other questions about what we're doing?
No.
Okay. And you want to plead no contest, is that correct?
That's correct.
If your plea of no contest is accepted by this court, it means you won't have a trial of any kind, and you'll be giving up the rights that go along with the trial. Did you sign this advice of rights form?
I did.
Did you go over the rights on the form?
I did.
So you understand then that the form lists the rights that go along with a trial, and those are the rights you'll give up if you plead no contest.
I do.
And that's what you want to do?
Yes.
Also, if I accept your plea, it means you cannot come back later on and try to say that the plea was the result of some promise or threat that no one told me about today. Do you understand that?
Yes.
It also means you cannot come back later on and try to say that this really wasn't your own choice to do this. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay, is there a plea agreement, Ms. Allen?
Yes, Your Honor. In exchange for the defendant's successful plea and sentence to count 2, the people agreed to dismiss count 1.
Is that a full and complete statement, Mr. Etheridge?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Deegan, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes.
Do you agree with it?
Yes.
Okay. Now, right now, I do not know what your sentence will be, and I haven't made any deals with anyone about your sentence. Do you understand that? Has anyone promised you anything else that hasn't been said right here and now in court in order to get you to plead no contest?
No.
Has anyone used any threats to get you to do it?
No.
Is this your own choice?
Yes.
Okay? And Mr. Etheridge, the reason for no contest?
Civil liability, Your
Civil
Honor.
liability? And I've already been provided with the police report, so I'll take a moment to review that. All right, I have read the pertinent portions of the police report, and I find that all of these events occurred on or about August 3rd, 2019, at the location of, on Northwind Drive in Meridian Township, Ingham County. On that date at that location, Mr. Deegan was visiting a female friend of his in her apartment, and the evening wore on. She wanted him to leave. He did not leave. She was on the floor and fell asleep, having no furniture in her apartment, just moved in, and she found Mr. Deegan suddenly forcefully grabbing her face and, quote, making out with her. She said that he was forcing his tongue inside her mouth and biting and sucking her lips. She pushed him away, and he forcefully, and pulled her face away, and she said she was not interested. She then laid down on the floor again and actually fell asleep, woke up in the process of Mr. Deegan having his penis in her vagina, which was obviously done by force and coercion and against her will. She was unwilling to go along with this. She felt frozen and didn't know what to do. And the incident ultimately came to a conclusion, and Mr. Deegan left. She identified him by the first name, Nick, and didn't know his last name, but identified him from a Facebook account, identified him as Nick Deegan, the defendant. And has the court complied with MCR 6.302, Ms. Allen?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Etheridge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you aware of any promises, threats, or inducements other than those already placed on the record, Ms. Allen?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Etheridge?
No, Your Honor.
The court finds the plea is understandingly and voluntarily made without undue influence, threats, or promises of leniency. Per the findings of the court, it is accurate as to count 2, 4th-degree criminal sexual conduct, and that is supported by the findings. The plea is accepted. A conviction will enter on count 2. Sentencing date is Monday, November 9th at 2 o'clock. Does that work for you, Mr. Etheridge?
I believe so, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Deegan, one thing you need to be sure you do before the sentencing date, well before the sentencing date, is have an interview with the probation department. They're located in the building next door in the basement, but they're not seeing people over there right now. So you need to get a hold of them if they don't get a hold of you right away, and tell them that you need to have an interview. Perhaps Mr. Etheridge can give you the contact information for them so that you can take care of that. Okay, your bond will be continued, and you are all set. Make sure that you are available for the interview they do, and make sure you're back here on November 9th at 2 o'clock for sentencing. Okay?
Yeah, are you sentencing in person or by video?
I think in person.
Okay. I was gonna say he would waive his right, if he wanted to do it by video.
I'll return the police report to Mr. Etheridge. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And you're all set, Mr. Deegan.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you,
You're
Your Honor.
welcome.
You can go on.